Well, the cat's out of the bag. As the title of the video states, probably going to be taking this to Seattle next week and selling this. So I know a lot of you guys are probably disappointed. What does that mean for the channel? That means that we get to work on Earl. We get to do a completely new build, and I'm not 100% sure I'm going to be set on doing a Cummins. It might be something else. It might be a Prius motor, it might be a Hayabusa motor, who knows?
I find it really interesting buying a new vehicle and starting to de-engineer all of the work that the previous owner put in and find out exactly what their thought process was. In the case of this Land Cruiser, things were a little shaky at first, but I'm starting to see where the previous owner had gone with the, I guess you could call it a build, or what they had used it for. If you watched the previous videos, you've seen that the fuel pump and probably the fuel filter was most likely contaminated due to them putting Coca-Cola in the gas tank, which they thought would prevent rust, I guess. And I get it. I can't say I've ever done anything like that, but right on. So first we're going to take out the fuel pump. We have access to the fuel door here by taking out the harness and removing all these fasteners that secure the fuel door into the tank. And this will give us access to our fuel pump assembly here. I had a sneaking hunch that the engine was going to run decently with a decent chance at getting fuel. So this is pre-OBD2, so we had to guess when we did the diagnostics. But when we took the fuel pump out here, you look at the sock on the fuel pump and it is just completely, dark colored. So that could just be bad gas, but obviously there's Coca-Cola in there as well. So I bought a cheap little Rock Auto fuel pump and verified that we were getting 12 volts to it, put it back in, tried to start it up after installing a new fuel filter. This is the old one here. Here's the new one, and we had some success when we turned it on. I won't be using this engine or going forward with it. I'm just trying to verify that it is a good, decent running engine with all the parts for the next person that buys this engine, which won't be for very much. I'm just taking it out basically to put in a new engine, and it's going to be used as a core for someone else. In the meantime, I put on these BFG KO2s. I tried to use this bead breaker / tire assembler from Harbor Freight for $50, and I wasted the better part of a day and sweat and broke my back trying to get these wheels on. Not fun. Yeah, be careful with this thing too. You can hurt yourself. Again, I'm not an expert. I'm just a YouTuber, so ended up just taking it to a tire shop, and they did it for relatively low cost. So.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're working on Earl, the 3FE that we purchased not too long ago, and we have some interesting discoveries that we made from last week. So we were successful in getting the smog pump put back on along with the new alternator. This was a 90 amp alternator from Bosch that was offered as part of a special cold weather package or something like that, as opposed to 80 amp. So we had to make some modifications and trim the ears because that doesn't actually fit in the stock mounting bracket location. But we made it work and we got it running, filled it up with just water now to see how it would work. And it runs rough still. We were able to get the new fuel pump installed as well, along with the new fuel filter, because they were clogged up with Coca-Cola, which I think you guys already saw from the previous video. And now it's just, we're kind of at an impasse because we've kind of realized that we can't really get it running correctly because of what was done, and that is essentially a cat delete. So two exhausts coming off the heads right here. There's two individual headers, just like the 1FZ. But if we take a look under here, I believe this is the location where the cats would have been originally, but they have cut these out. I'm not sure exactly where. There's so much dirt and grime down here, it's hard to tell. But if you look right here, you can see they patched up or put some exhaust pipe in between one of these areas, and I cannot seem to find the O2 sensor location anywhere. So when I do the diagnostics in the truck, in order to put the engine in diagnostic mode, you just connect these terminal 5 and 7 with a jumper wire, or a speaker wire in this case, laugh out loud, and then it'll start throwing those codes in the dash. So that's how we were able to determine that. So we'll go ahead and yank that out and get ready to pull the engine. There's a method that you can use with this old, I'm not sure if this is even OBD1 or what this is. We have our service manual here, or the Haynes manual. But if we turn on the ignition with our key, we see here that we've got the check engine light flashing. So we're gonna count real quick, so we got 1, 2, so that'll mean code number 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 1. So that's 21 and 28. We refer to our handy little notebook here. We see code number 21 is, wouldn't you have guessed it, main oxygen sensor, problem in the main circuit, or ECM, something like that. And then if we look at 28, we see same, post catalytic converter, open or shorted circuit in the post catalytic oxygen sensor circuit. Basically what that means is they've cut the wiring somewhere. I'm having issues finding exactly where that is in the wiring harness, but it means that they've Mickey Mouse some sort of system to bypass it. So we did run this yesterday and it ran really rough. It ran definitely better than before. After we replaced the fuel pump and the fuel filter, the sock was completely contaminated with Coca-Cola, of course. And then the actual fuel filter itself was pouring out like cranberry juice colored, which is not what it's supposed to be. Obviously gas is supposed to be clear, yellowish, whatever. So this engine pretty much is just going to get pulled. We just wanted to determine if it was a good running engine, which it seems like it is. These are tractor motors, so they're definitely not going to have too many issues unless you really mess something up. So the next thing to do with this is a compression test to see if the engine is anywhere near what it needs to be, if it needs to be rebuilt, or if the rings are good. Bottom end seems to be good because again, we were driving around, it's just dumping fuel. I would assume it's like OBD2 where it's open circuit until it gets hot and it just dumps fuel until the O2 sensors and the engine's up to operating temperature. But it's just not worth trying to do all this just to revive a 3FE. Somebody may need this, and we're going to put a Cummins in this, whether it's a 4BT or a 6BT or a QSB, we're not sure yet. But next step for this is going to be just to yank it out. So what we're working on today is getting Tanya ready to potentially be sold. So we've listed it, and I know you guys are gonna be all like, what the heck, you built this channel with this truck, you put so much time and energy into it. And I know I did. I did have plans of selling this when I bought it, and here we are. So it's fully cleaned and everything's taken out of it, all my tools and everything. Made an effort to clean it up. Still have to do a few things, but all the drawers are emptied, and took some pictures. Still need to do some superficial things. I'm gonna cut and buff, or just buff, a lot of these little scratches, well, big scratches, because I did use this as a trail rig, but I'm gonna use the McGuire's cutting compound and get this all cleaned up. So hood stack shroud's still going well, but as you can see, in order to get a lot of the grime off, there's some swirl marks in there. Not sure if the rag I had some sort of rock on it or something, but we're gonna use some McGuire's cutting compound and Chicago Electric buffer in order to get these out. So let's see how we do. And I just use Chicago Electric, again, Harbor Freight Velcro pad on there. I like those, they're nice, just rip them on, rip them off. And then I just use the regular, there's like 60 different types of McGuire's. I like this stuff, it works pretty well. So let's go give it a try. This is the pinstriping here from some sort of a branch or something that I drove around or drove through. So we're gonna see if we can get those off. So this is just one little section here, and you can kind of see the delineation between where I did buff and where I didn't. Some of this is just soot from the hood stack, which I know some people don't like, and I get it, but you can have a full exhaust made for these for not that much. So I think it looks cool, and this is the price you pay. So there's still gonna be a little bit of that rubbing compound left on there. It's, again, gonna be hard to come through on camera. And I wanna do this in the shade, not in the sun, because it's semi-cool here, because we're in Vegas and it's hot. But we'll just take our microfiber and remove any of the excess, and let's see if it made a difference. And I can tell it already did. I mean, you can tell it's a lot better than up here. So what I'm gonna end up doing is just doing the whole truck, because yeah, it needs a little bit of needs a little love. Got a little bit of a dent right here. What are you gonna do? Let's get to it. Yeah, this most likely is going to be gone next week. We won't know until we hear back from the guy. We're talking to him on the phone tonight, and we'll see if we can agree on a price and everything, and how the funds will be delivered, but yeah, most likely Tanya's going to be gone as of next week. I bought this truck 4 years ago with the intent to fix it up and sell it. I never dreamed I'd be doing everything I'd done to it, and it's cost a lot of money. Obviously, you guys have seen how much this costs to just swap a Cummins in, and I'd like to be able to keep making content. There's still things that can be done to this, but I feel like it's pretty good for the time being, and I feel like I'm kind of done with it. Not done with it like I don't want it anymore, but I feel like it's built for somebody that can enjoy it. I enjoy it, but I want to be able to make more content, and for the people that are just joining the channel or just viewing these last videos, I want to give you something new and fresh to jump on. So anyways, that's going to do it for the video today, guys. Thanks for watching, and have a good night.